Hey everyone, welcome back to the Social Spectator channel. Today we're diving into a story that's equal parts shocking, heartbreaking, and ultimately a tale of justice served. It's the story of Ann Pettway, the woman who kidnapped a baby from a hospital in 1987 and lived a lie for over 2 decades. This is a deep dive, so grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's uncover the layers of this unbelievable case. Let's start at the beginning. It's August 4th, 1987, at Harlem Hospital in New York City. Carlina White, just 19 days old, is brought in by her parents, Tyson and Joy White, because she had a high fever. The hospital staff assured the parents that their baby would be okay, but what happened next would change their lives forever. Ann Pettway, a 23-year-old woman from Connecticut, walked into the hospital that night. She wasn't a nurse, but she dressed like one. She blended in, gained the trust of the staff, and walked out with baby Carlina. Just like that, Carlina was gone. Can you imagine the pain Carlina's parents felt? They left the hospital thinking their baby was in good hands, only to return and find her missing. The police were called, and an investigation began, but despite their efforts, Carlina was nowhere to be found. For 23 years, her parents lived with the agony of not knowing what happened to their daughter. Ann Pettway, on the other hand, took Carlina to Bridgeport, Connecticut, and raised her as her own. She gave her a new name, Nejdra Nance, and told her a fabricated story about her birth. For years, Carlina believed Pettway was her biological mother. Let's talk about Ann Pettway. Who was she, and why did she do this? Pettway had a troubled past. She had suffered multiple miscarriages and was desperate to have a child. But instead of seeking help or exploring legal options like adoption, she chose to steal someone else's baby. Pettway's actions weren't just a crime. They were a violation of the deepest trust. She not only robbed Carlina's parents of their child, but also robbed Carlina of her true identity. Now, let's fast forward to 2010. Carlina, now a young woman, began to suspect something wasn't right. She noticed she didn't look like the woman she thought was her mother, and her birth certificate was missing. She started asking questions, but Pettway avoided giving her straight answers. Carlina's suspicions grew, and she took matters into her own hands. She began searching online for missing children who matched her description. And then, she found it. A photo of herself as a baby on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. In January 2011, Carlina reached out to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A DNA test was conducted, and the results confirmed what Carlina had hoped. She was the missing baby from Harlem Hospital. After 23 years, Carlina was finally reunited with her biological parents. The reunion was emotional and bittersweet. Carlina's parents had their daughter back, but they had missed out on so much of her life. And Carlina had to grapple with the shocking truth of her identity and the betrayal of the woman she had called mom for over 2 decades. Now, let's talk about the legal aftermath. In 2011, Ann Pettway turned herself into the authorities. She admitted to kidnapping Carlina and was charged with federal kidnapping. In 2012, she pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. During her sentencing, Pettway expressed remorse, saying, "I'm truly sorry for the pain I caused." But the judge wasn't swayed, calling her actions unconscionable and a violation of the deepest trust. While Pettway's sentence brought some closure, it couldn't undo the damage she caused. Carlina's parents lost 23 years of their daughter's life, and Carlina herself had to navigate the complex emotions of discovering her true identity. But despite the trauma, Carlina showed incredible resilience. She took control of her own story and found her way back to her real family. It's a reminder that even in the darkest situations, there's hope for healing and justice. After the sentencing, Carlina continued to rebuild her life. She reconnected with her biological family and even appeared on national television to share her story. Her courage inspired many, and her case brought attention to the issue of child abduction and the importance of DNA testing in solving cold cases. Ann Pettway, on the other hand, served her sentence and was released from prison in 2020. She now lives a quiet life, but her actions will forever be a stain on her legacy. This case raises so many questions. How did Pettway manage to walk out of the hospital with a baby? Why didn't anyone stop her? And what can we learn from this story to prevent something like this from happening again? Thankfully, hospital security has improved significantly since 1987, But this case is a reminder that we must remain vigilant and continue to advocate for the safety of our children. If you found this story as gripping as I did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let me know in the comments what you think about this case. Could you imagine going through something like this? And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into true crime and justice stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.